Ladies and gentlemen, in a couple of seconds, you will hear actually from the appeals court, but also legal analysis pertaining to a victory, an upcoming victory, and really a victory that's already taken place. Appellate judges skeptical of New York civil fraud case against Trump. President Trump is about to get over $500 million of his money. Well, it's $512 million, including interest. So I did a segment, and hit subscribe to this channel right now. In a couple of seconds, you will hear actually the actual court talk about this, and it's within a Fox News segment. But $512 million, including interest. That's all going to go back to President Trump. President Trump's never going to have to pay a cent of that, or whatever he is paid is going to go back to him. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Before we get to the Fox News segment, that's very important. Deutsche Bank actually lent Trump the money because they wanted a whale of a client. They were part of his defense. And this is huge. I did a segment on this the other day. I did very well. If not Hochul, who was stalling Trump's appeal of Tish James's civil fraud case. Hochul is accused by Trump of saying she controls the judges. She, quote unquote, stated I control the judges. Now you have Letitia James in a fraud case herself, a mortgage fraud case. Except Deutsche Bank isn't trying to give the Attorney General billions in loans. They were trying to give Trump billions in loans. This was a victimless crime, the definition of a victimless crime. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely huge.
The appeals court heard arguments in former President Trump's bid to overturn his multi-million-dollar civil fraud judgment. Trump's lawyers arguing to a 5-judge panel that the ruling was, quote, unlawful and unconstitutional. And let's bring in Judge Jeanine Pirro. She's co-host of The Five, and she's stopping here in our studio first. We appreciate that, Judge. First, this is one of the judges on that panel in the Trump hearing who sounded very skeptical of the New York AG's argument in this case. Listen.
You've got two really sophisticated parties in which no one lost any money. And that was the point of my initial question. Every case that you cite involved where there was damage to consumers, damage to the marketplace. You've got a scheme to get unsophisticated consumers to take out home loans. You got a collapse of Lehman Brothers. You don't have anything like that here. Where's
the victims?
Well,
You heard from the appeals court. You can hear it again. Let's listen to it again. There's no correlation between what happened with President Trump and what's taking place now potentially with Letitia James. Letitia James could be innocent. She's innocent until proven guilty. However, she is accused of lying on loan applications, potentially using a family member as her husband, which of course was not her husband, being Attorney General of New York, and having a residence in Virginia, which is not allowed if you're the Attorney General, and lying on an application in New York, potentially lying on a document in New York, a loan document, about the number of units in a property that she owns in New York City, if I have that correct. That the victim there is potentially the lenders. That if everyone does that, the entire system crumbles. That's exactly what James and Democrats were stating. If everyone is a billionaire, two-term president with golf courses and real estate and hotels and Mar-a-Lago worth $1 to $1.5 billion. Watch the segment prior to this the other day on this. If everyone is President Trump, a billionaire two-term president that Deutsche Bank actually defended in court as part of the defense, literally the bank that was supposed to be cheated went to his defense. Do you think the bank will go to Letitia James's defense? Let's listen to this again.
AG's argument in this case. Listen.
You've got two really sophisticated parties in which no one lost any money. And that was the point of my initial question. Every case that you cite involved where there was damage to consumers, damage to the marketplace. You've got a scheme to get unsophisticated consumers to take out home loans. You got a collapse of Lehman Brothers. You don't have anything like that here.
Where's the victims?
There was nothing like that there. President Trump did not commit any fraud, number one. Number two, the valuation of his property, the Mar-a-Lago property, was 18 million or so. That is completely absurd. It's about 1 to 1.5 billion. You can watch the segment the other day on this channel. And that was a $450 million victory for Trump. This is going to be, including interest, over $500 million, $512 million, including the interest. Number three, every real estate mogul or anyone who owns real estate in New York could be next if you don't fall in line with Tammany Hall. So why would you, if the appeals will take place and it'll be a huge monumental victory for Trump. There's no way in my mind, there's a zero way in my mind that the appeals court rules in favor of Letitia James, especially with her mortgage fraud allegations currently, and a resignation almost certain, indictment and prosecution almost certain, because it's gone to the DOJ from top government officials. They're the ones who leveled the allegations. But why would you do business in New York if you could be accused of inflating your net worth? Even if you're a billionaire. The complete and utter imbeciles who think that Trump inflated his net worth have zero clue how Deutsche Bank lends money. Let's continue.
Well, isn't that what the Trump team has been telling us all along? There is no victim. No one lost money. The banks came in and said, we're happy. Donald Trump's property was undervalued. Mar-a-Lago, 18 million. Are you kidding? In Palm Beach on the water. I mean, and you had an attorney general who ran on getting Donald Trump. She fixed a statute that's vague at best, takes a misdemeanor that's past the statute of limitation, resurrects it with a felony, a federal felony, that the jury doesn't have to on the verdict sheet actually identify. I mean, everything about this case is wrong. You have a judge that was so biased and so prejudicial as it related to Donald Trump that he found Donald Trump liable for fraud before there was any testimony, before there was any trial. And the difference between the money that they want to take from Donald Trump and what we're even talking about is absurd. And I'm so glad to hear that judge say that, because
I'm not a billionaire. I don't want to be a billionaire, actually, to tell you the truth. But if you're a billionaire and you live in New York, if you don't play ball with Tammany Hall and you see what's taking place, it's like a revolving door in terms of the politicians. The corruption, it's like almost as if they're all corrupt. You have Schneiderman, the attorney general, the other years back. He was forced to resign. Letitia James would be forced to resign very soon, almost certainly. You had Andrew Cuomo forced to resign. You can just type in New York Democrat indicted. See what you find on the search. Okay, the politicians themselves in New York. This is a political machine that is corrupt in and of itself. The judges know this. The appeals court judges know that billionaires and other real estate magnates and moguls live there. If this verdict holds, you're talking billions in real estate leaving, or billions of dollars being sold immediately in real estate. Because who wants to own real estate in New York if you could owe $500 million, or even what would be the next judgment against somebody who Democrats don't like? But let's listen to this real quick.
It sure seems like, and this may be the biggest irony I've ever seen in American politics, that it looks like she's engaged in the same thing she charged President Trump with. I mean, turns out you can't have your principal residence in Virginia and be the Attorney General of New York. Turns out you can't on a mortgage form say that your dad is actually your husband, and you also can't say that you got a 4-unit property that's actually 5 units. Those are the 3 things that it looks like she did over a long period of time.
And that was done to save money. potentially. President Trump was literally sought after by Deutsche Bank. Huge victory ahead for Trump. Huge victory. Hit subscribe, share this everywhere.